There's a lot of talk about Anthony Davis right now in the trade market, but a lot of it has to do with the contract extension next year. Let's talk about the different paths and options the Mavericks have and get into a little bit of the numbers on today's One More Thing of Locked On Mavs.
I'm not a doctor, so.
That's it. It's me versus the machine.
I don't know.
Sock number change.
Nice penetrating thrust to the middle.
Hot man, the hot player.
Wait. One more thing.
Fired up.
You are locked on the Dallas Mavericks. This is one of your hosts, Isaac Harris, covering the Mavs for the last 10 years alongside my good friend, Nick Angstead. And I just want to say right off the top, thanks for making the Locked On Sports Podcasting Network the #1 network out there. And today I want to talk about Anthony Davis. Shocker. But I want to talk about the numbers with Anthony Davis. This will probably, it's a one more thing. So it's going to be a quick hitter here a little bit. But I know there's a lot of talk with the trade market. I'm not going to talk about the trades and all of that trade speculation and rumors and everything. I want to talk about the numbers and the contract extension, because this is a huge point of the conversation, of the equation right now, is the looming contract extension that Anthony Davis, Rich Paul, his camp is going to want, has made it known already that they want next offseason, next summer, going into the next fall. And next August, when he can sign that new extension. So I think that term gets thrown out a lot, and it's like, hey, I know he makes a lot of money now. What does that extension actually look like? Does it have to be the full? What are the other paths? That's what I want to talk about today, because we kind of just gloss over that. So hopefully this can bring a little bit of explanation to the different options the Mavericks have with Anthony Davis right now, as far as this extension that he wants. And if they even have to give him an extension, but can still keep him. So anyway, I want to kind of answer that, and hopefully it's going to be a resource that you can keep. If you get maybe confused with some of the extension stuff, you could go back and like, hey, let me listen to this 15-minute episode on what the extension talks look like. So Anthony Davis, he's going to be 33 in March. So he's 32 right now. He's going to be 33 next summer when these negotiations and these talks are going to be happening with Rich Paul and whatever team he's on, right? It could be a different team than the Mavericks, but let's just say, it could be Dallas, right? Like they could hold on to him until the summer. When you look at his career earnings, because this is something I look at too when it comes to like upcoming free agents and, some players that might be wanting a payday or could opt into a contract or whatever the situation is for sometimes a player that could be going to free agency, is look at some of their their career earnings. And it's like sometimes you get a player that has really popped off and they haven't made too much money in their career. And it's like, maybe it's the one chance that they have to make a lot of money. And you look at their career earnings and it's like, all right, man, they could like make their whole career earnings in the first year of their next contract if they play their cards right. For Anthony Davis, that's not the case, because he has made $365 million after this year. Woof. That is a lot of, what would you do with $365 million? What? I don't even know where I'd start. So after this year, he makes $54 million this year. And after this year is completed, he'll be at that $365 million in career earnings. His contract right now, will he be a free agent next summer? No, that is not the case. Could he be a free agent next summer? No. I mean, unless they waived him, which would be that's not going to happen. So he is under contract, right? Like he makes 54 this year. So going into next year, he makes another guaranteed $58.4 million next year. And it's the year after that. It's the 2027-28 season that he has a player option for 62.7. So Klutch and Anthony Davis, they're wanting to get ahead of this, right? Like they're going into the last guaranteed year of his contract, because then there's a player option on top of that. So going into next year, that's when they're wanting an extension. And so right now, what is the situation for Anthony Davis right now? As far as like, what's some context around the amount of money he's making? So like I say, he makes $54 million. He's tied for the 5th highest paid player in the league. And you're like, Isaac, who makes more money than Anthony Davis right now? Well, I'm glad you asked. Dang, I had it on a different page here. The only players who make more than Anthony Davis right now in the NBA are Steph Curry, Jokic, Embiid, shout out, Durant, and then there's a four-way tie for the fifth highest paid player in the league, and that's Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, and Giannis. So yeah, as far as more than Anthony Davis, just four players: Durant, Embiid, Jokic, and Curry. And Durant that's kind of a new, well, he signed an extension, but Durant makes 54 this year, and then he has a 2-year extension coming up. But I'll actually talk more about that here in just a second. So Anthony Davis makes $54 million, fifth highest paid player in the league. Since he's been in Dallas, he has played. The health thing has obviously been the number one thing centered around him. He's played in roughly a third of the games possible since he's been in Dallas. And in this year, right at like half the amount of games he could possibly play in Dallas. So he hasn't been super healthy in Dallas. But when he's on the floor, the Mavericks, they obviously win more games when he is on the floor. And when he has been committed to the five, he has played better basketball. So all that to say, the situation the Mavericks are in now, whether it's Tim McMahon on his podcast or other reporting, like that, it is known within Anthony Davis's camp that they're seeking an extension next summer. And here are the different paths the Mavericks could take. So number one, the one that I think will probably happen, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, is the Mavericks don't even want to do the dance of an extension, and they trade him before the deadline. And they say, hey, that extension talk is the talk. That conversation can happen with the new team, right? And all signs point, I mean, it's been reported on pretty openly that Dumont, Rich Paul have a relationship wherever, if they trade Anthony Davis before the deadline, Klutch is going to be playing a hand in that. So, and if Klutch is playing a hand of it and agreeing to it, there's probably a pretty good indication that new team is going to give some type of an extension because that's what they want, whether it's from Dallas or someone else. So the first route is for the Mavericks to say, hey, that's not the conversation we want to be a part of. We'll trade you. We'll let the new team do that. Second route is you wait until next summer. You don't trade him before the deadline. You wait until next summer and you trade him to a team that will give him an extension. And I think Klutch will control it more at that point. Because there's always a scenario, right? Like, what if you say right now, hey, we're not going to trade you, and you get to next summer and you're like, we don't want to give you a massive extension. Does Anthony Davis and Klutch request a trade at that point? And then it's really narrowing the suitors. Either way, I don't think it would get to that point, but I think either way, both sides, I think Klutch would control it more at that point because they really want the extension. And that's when I think they look around the league and say, all right, we're really going to find the team that will sign us to an extension, and we'll work with Dallas and all that. So that's option number two. Option one, trade him, don't have the conversation about the extension. Two, you wait until next summer and trade him then. Three, you just keep him and you don't give him an extension, and you say, I don't care what you and your camp wants. This is an option, right? Like, I feel like there are definitely people saying that are in the camp of, hey, next season is a guaranteed year, so why do I have to give him an extension now? And even the year after that's a player option at $62 million. And you're going to tell me you're going to opt out of an option at $62 million? So you could try to call the bluff and say, we're not going to trade you. You have 2 more years after this year, and you're not going to decline that player option. So yeah, suit up. Like, and you're going to be our 5 next year, and you're going to be hopefully healthy at the beginning of the camp, and you're going to be pretty dang good. So, and we like you and Cooper together. We get to see Kyrie, a new draft pick probably, and there you go. The thing with that is, it could get awkward and get awkward fast. That's where knowing how, if a lot of you guys have followed the league for so long, or you know how representation works. You know how, and I don't want to like single out Klutch, but it's like you know how agents and everything work. It sometimes it's not that easy of, hey, you're just going to go play your contract. There are different levers that get pulled, different injuries that are like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was really an injury. Well, it is now. And there's all these things outside of like just flat out requesting a trade and just making it ugly and awkward. I would be surprised if that happened of, hey, no extension. We're just going to hold on to you and we expect to see you in camp and we're not giving you anything. That would surprise me if that happened. Let's take a quick break. And then I want to give you two options in which AD gets an extension from Dallas. And then we'll end it on, hey, let's see what y'all think. What option is the best? This podcast is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during the basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night, before the game tips off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become an appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during the holiday hour always brings something new, boost, bonuses, and surprises. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app. See what's dropping during the NBA Happy Hour. So every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. This podcast is also brought to you by, an old friend of ours, BetterHelp. BetterHelp. As we roll into the new year, there's a lot of pressure to chase a new you, new year, new me. But sometimes it isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about feeling a little less weighed down. Therapy can help you understand what's been holding you back by giving you an outside perspective on your emotions, motivations, and relationships. Guys, I've been to therapy before, went in 2025 for a good little chunk there, and it helped change a lot of stuff in me. The hardest thing I think with therapy is opening up that Zoom or walking in the door the first time. And it's awkward. It's hard sometimes, but once you do it the first time, I think it gets easier every single time. Now I'm off the ad read. And here's the thing with BetterHelp. If the match with the person on the other end isn't the right fit, you can switch to another therapist from their tailored recommendations at any time. BetterHelp makes it even easier to get matched online with qualified therapists. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/NBA. That's betterhelp.com/NBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right. I'm here. I'm talking about Anthony Davis. I'm probably boring you with some numbers and extension stuff. But I think it's needed because I think people just talk about the extension or just throw it out there and we don't really consider all the different paths. And I'm sorry if my voice is throwing out a little bit. Just got home from the Passion Conference here in Dallas, which is amazing conference. That's been in Globe Life where the Rangers play, and pretty cool. I love the Passion Conference. I've supported the Passion Conference for a long time, and 45,000 people worshiping is really cool. Really cool. All right, Anthony Davis. So here's the other two routes they could take. We already talked about the three other routes, I think. There's the trade him before the deadline. You don't have to deal with the extension. There is the wait until next summer and trade him to a team that will give him an extension. That Klutch was probably going to control that conversation more. There is, hey, keep him and don't trade him now or next summer. Keep him and just say no extension at all. Play your dang contract. And which it could get awkward and some weird things could happen at that point. Maybe a trade request, whatever it is. So there's the first three. Fourth one, you give him a smaller extension if he's willing. You go to the table and you're like, hey, we know that you want a full extension. The full contract extension he could possibly get. He is eligible next summer. Get ready for this number. He's eligible for next summer, next August, basically, for a 4-year, $275 million contract. You're looking at around $70 million. You're looking at around his age 37 season, the last year of that contract, him making around $77 million. That is a lot of money. So, what if you go to him, you're like, hey, we're not going to give you the full extension. We don't think anybody's going to give you the full extension. But let's entertain a shorter deal. Would you be willing to, on both sides, What if Klutch, what if Anthony Davis, their side, what if the Mavericks side said, hey, let's try to look at like a 2-year deal. Is there any deal out there recently that is similar to what you would want? I think Anthony Davis's camp would probably look at some of the recent ones that some guys in the 30s got. You're like, hey, who's some other guys? Glad you asked. Here we go. Kevin Durant just got an extension from the Houston Rockets, 2 years, $90 million. That's $45 million for Kevin Durant over the next 2 years, 45 per. Is Anthony Davis worth Kevin Durant? Like, is he the same level of player as Kevin Durant? That would be worth around $45 million, not 70. So, but 45. You look at a guy like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler in February of 2025 got a 2-year extension from Golden State, in which it was 2 years, $121 million. So pretty good chunk of change there. You're looking at around $60 million, $58 million in that starting after this year. Is Anthony Davis the same level or the same type of asset or player as a Jimmy Butler? That's up to you to decide. If you think so, then Anthony Davis camp's probably looking at it and saying, hey, if Jimmy Butler got 58, 60 million per for 2 years, then we want 58 to 60 million for 2 years. And then the last one's Kyrie Irving, who is just into his 30s, but he signed his 3-year deal with Dallas, worth $119 million, starts around $36 million. So $36 million, would you look at Anthony Davis and say, hey, would you want to sign the Kyrie deal? He's probably looking at it and saying, no, I want more money than that. Going down to 36 per year when I'm making 54 now, that's like a $20 million less. He's probably not going to want that. So I guess that's my question for fans who want to keep Anthony Davis is he the same levels player? Do you consider him, like when he's playing, of course, he is a dominant player, but does the injury history take him down a notch from the Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving level to where you wouldn't pay him $40 to $60 million? And if you don't think it hinders him that much, then that could be something, right? Does Dallas and AD's camp work on a 2-year contract extension next summer, next offseason, next August, to where, it's something? I don't see AD's camp and Klutch agreeing to a Kyrie thing at all. I think you'd probably be looking at somewhere in between the Durant and Butler number, to where it's like a two-year, $100 million contract. It's like 50 per or something like that. That's the fourth path. The fifth path is you just give him the full max. You give him what he wants. And you're like, hey, he played the 5 and he's looked good at the 5 when he's healthy, and we want to see the vision together. Like I said, that would be $275 million for 4 years. Next August, $70 million per, and that would take him to the age of 37. So that's 5 different paths that the Mavericks could take with Anthony Davis in his contract situation. You could give him the full max. You could approach him next summer with like a 2-year short deal of like $45, $50, $55 million per year. I don't know if his camp would want that. Would you want that if you're Dallas's camp? Would you go into next summer and just call his bluff and say, hey, no one's going to give you an extension. We just want to keep you, just report to camp. We're not giving you an extension at all, and embrace the awkwardness. Would you wait until next summer and trade him and let Klutch kind of control the trade market next summer? Or would you just trade him now and not even entertain the situation? And because I'm not a fence rider, I'm going to give you, my thing. I mean, I've said it before. There's no world in which I would give him a full max next summer. There's just no way on earth. Would I be willing to give him Kevin Durant money next summer? Personally, I mean, obviously that's better than the full max. Personally, I don't want to. I just don't. He has played in 1/3 of the games for Dallas. He's played in half the games this year. I think he's great when he plays. I just don't want to tie up the next 2 to 3 years with $70 million or $50 million, 40% of your cap space with a guy who's playing half your games or a third of your games. And especially with Cooper Flagg, you're building these years. I personally just don't want to do that. Would I just keep him and give him and just say no extension into next summer? I think that's better than any type of an extension, but I don't want to deal with the awkwardness. I don't want to deal with any of the drama back and forth with Klutch and everything. And, that's why for me, I've been open about this, and some of you are like screaming in the comments like, of course, here's Isaac talking about trading AD again. I just think it's the smartest thing asset wise for the franchise, that you trade him now and just you say, hey, I just don't want to. Cooper started this thing over, and we want to focus on Cooper now, and we don't want to tie up. We don't want to be. I just don't want to be in the AD extension business, and that's my opinion. And take it for what it's worth. Whether it's $50 million, whether it's $70 million, I don't want to be in the AD contract extension. And he's not going to take MLE money. All right. Some people are throwing out there like, oh, just give him like 15 million or 10 million. It's like, he's not going to do that. Klutch is not going to let that happen either. And he should. If someone's willing to give him a ton of money right now, despite some of the injury stuff, get that money, dude. Like, I mean, crap, like go get that money. If Atlanta or someone will give him that extension, I'm a proponent of everybody making, get their money there. So it's nothing about him personally. Just as far as an asset building around Cooper, I don't want to extend that experience at that type of cost. So there you go. There's some extension talk from AD. There's some numbers. Maybe if you're confused about any of the timeline of that and what some of the numbers could look like, hopefully that answered a few of the questions. And we'll be back. There's a game on Saturday night, and there'll be a post game after that. Peace out.